Good afternoon, New Independence Network. Only 66 days until Barack Hussein Obama is out of our White House forever. Very happy. Happier every day. Only 66 days. So, I want to address something today. I'm not going to talk about a lot of the same rehash from the news because it's been talked about by radio talk show hosts ad nauseum. I could easily cover Barack Obama's speech, his little press conference that he gave yesterday. I will touch on that very briefly. Very, very briefly. When you hear Barack Obama talk, when you hear him speak, he is basically walking on both sides of the fence. What do you mean? What do I mean by that? Well, he's trying to play the elder statesman. He's trying to maintain the illusion of propriety as the outgoing president of the United States. That's his front that he's putting out there. Behind the scenes, behind his smile and his stolid exterior, he is angry. He's bitter. He's sullen. He's seething. And he wants revenge. It's very simple. The plan is there. He's giving the illusion of being inclusive and peaceful and transitional. And all along, he wants to destroy the Republican Party. He wants revenge. See, a lot of people like to call Donald Trump a narcissist. And he is. Most of your great people really are. But Barack Obama, they forget, is the narcissist. When you are giving a speech about Hillary Clinton during the campaign, and you refer to yourself 207 times in one 80-minute speech, 207, far more than you refer to her, the person for whom you are campaigning, you are a narcissist. It is all about Barack Obama. We've heard it before. The me, myself, and Obama all the time. He constantly gives the speeches and he's always talking about himself. That's what he does. Did the Navy SEALs kill bin Laden? No. Barack Obama said, I killed bin Laden. I, me, I. It's always. That's how he works. And because he's such a narcissist, he can't fathom the concept that the election of Donald Trump and the election of Republicans in mass across the country in 2010 and again in 2014, governorships, legislatures, across the board. What was the number? 1,500 elected offices were replaced as Republican since 2010. 1,500 nationwide. I think of the 50 states, we have 33 governorships. This is a resounding rejection of Barack Obama, and the election is the final nail in the coffin. He can't fathom that. He thinks that everybody loves him. He buys into his PR. He buys into the BS that the media spins for him, that he's loved and he's praised and people respect him. No. I firmly believe, and I've said it before, and I firmly believe, I'm sticking to my guns on this, that the public opinion poll of Barack Obama, that Rasmussen put out, a 59 or 56% approval rating, is BS. Every poll has been invalidated. Rasmussen was off. They claimed Hillary was going to win. Now their spin, and I used to really rely, I used to think Rasmussen was a solid polling organization. Now I'm finding out that they're a bunch of BS too, because they're getting lazy, and your newer pollsters are coming in, and they're being more aggressive and more inclusive in their results. And Rasmussen said, oh, well, we picked Hillary by 2.1%, but the popular vote confirms that, even though she didn't win. Does it? votecount.org, I think it's called. There was a tweet that came out yesterday from votecount.org, if I'm not mistaken, about there might be as many as 3 million or more illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, for the sensitive snowflakes on the left, undocumented immigrants. No, illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants, 3 million or more, may have voted in the election. And you know they voted for Hillary Clinton because that's the MO. The Democrats are trying to lure them in, scaring them into voting, which is going to be the topic of our part of our conversation, is the fear. But we're getting to that. 3 million plus voted for Hillary Clinton, potentially. If that's the case, now we're still doing the tallies. It's going to take some time to find out the exact popular vote because the final tallies are slowly coming in. There's a site, Decision Desk HQ, I think it's called. It's a Twitter account. And they were spot on with their counts. They were spot on during election night. They were calling races before anybody else did. If you were following them on Twitter, you were ahead of the game. We knew here that Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, we're all going, Michigan, we're all going, oh, Michigan's not out yet, but they said Michigan's going Trump. We knew Florida was there. They called Florida, Ohio, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania for Trump an hour before the networks did. And several hours before in the case of Pennsylvania. They had it. Very good. So they're saying that they're coming out with new tallies already. They're a young bunch of people who are more aggressive and eager. So what happens when you have success and you become the quote-unquote gold standard or the go-to organization, a lot of people rest on their laurels and they get complacent. And that's when a hungry person, hungry people, or a hungry organization comes up from behind and bites you in the ass. And then they overtake you. And that's what's happening to Rasmussen, I believe, because if they're sitting there saying that, oh, well, we were off by 2.1%, we had Hillary winning, but that applies to the popular vote. Well, then your poll's not accurate because the popular vote does not elect the president. The Electoral College elects the president. Why? All these people are complaining about the popular vote. The popular vote, oh, Hillary didn't win. Hillary won the popular vote. Trump didn't win. Wait a second, though. Like I said, the 3 million illegals, if you take them out of the mix, Hillary will lose because you know they voted Hillary. Take out the 3 million plus illegals, if that's an accurate number, when we find out that it is, and eliminate those votes because they do not count because they are not citizens of this country. Hillary loses. The popular vote as well. And I'm quite sure that she did. But why do we have electors? Hey, you've seen videos on this online, I'm sure, but the electors are decide. The founding fathers were brilliant. When they built this country, they said, look, if you leave it up to the populace to vote, if you make it a pure democracy and not a republic, then what you're going to have is crazies being elected. You can have random renegades being elected just based on population centers. So wherever there are more people voting, they can be swayed very easily. And if it were a popular vote election, your candidates would be campaigning in New York, in Florida, in California, and around big cities where there are huge population centers, where most people live. The Midwest would be totally ignored. North Carolina would be ignored. Ohio would be ignored. New Hampshire would be ignored. So they our founding fathers set up the Electoral College to prevent that type of stacking of the vote and giving everybody more of a voice in the election of a president. It balances it out. Your rural states, your smaller states, have more say and more power in determining who the president is, and it's based on their electors. And it's completely constitutional, totally legal, how our system has been all along. The left just can't handle it. They can't handle it. They're freaking out. They're losing their minds, and I love it. They have to get in line. They are on the wrong side of history. I've said that time and again, and I will continue to say it. You're on the wrong side of history. The country has moved to the right. 1,500 elected offices are now Republican. 1,500 nationwide. 33 governorships are now Republican. We've moved right. We're tired of the cowardice of the left. We're tired of the fear-mongering of the left. We're tired of the blame game, the accusations, the oversensitive nature. We're tired of all of that. And a big part of that problem, and we're rejecting it resoundly, by the way, rejecting it resoundly. And Obama can't handle it. Can't. He doesn't think it's a him because, again, the media is telling him that it's not him. It is him. It's totally Obama. The media can't accept it. You can't trust anything the media says, by the way. You cannot trust a word that the media says now. Done. They're invalid. Your mainstream media, ABDNC, DNCBS, I put DNC in everything now. NBDNC, whatever, MSNBDNC, whoever it is, they're all controlled by the DNC. They take their marching orders. Wolf, DNC, Blitzer. They all take their marching orders from the DNC now. So you cannot trust a thing. The media is invalid. You thought the media was dying before. For the New York Times to come out and say that they're going to start reporting the truth now, they're going to start reporting balance now, to say that, the New York Times is the gold standard, or was supposed to be. They were supposed to be the ones that everyone turned to. They had the answers. When I was in the media business, we used to go to the New York Times, the headlines, and read what they were talking about, and that determined the newscast and what we covered. Seriously. Minus local. This is what they're doing now. They have to actually say, oh, we're going to report for real now. That's how bad it's become. It's like a serial killer saying that they're going to stop killing now. Or a priest saying that I'm not going to kill anybody anymore. You're not supposed to do it anyway. You're supposed to do it the right way. Well, we're really going to talk about God now. That's a better analogy. As a priest, I'm going to really talk about the scripture now and not about Satan. Weren't you supposed to be talking about scripture from the beginning because you're a priest? Well, yeah. Hello, New York Times. You're a joke. You're all a joke. Every single one of you. Anything reported by a news organization now is considered a joke. You can't trust them. You have to go to the alternative media sources, because they're telling you the true story. It's a shame when independent journal. Well, it's impressive that James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, they're actually telling the true story. People like WikiLeaks have to leak information so we can get the real story. You have to leak it, which is really sad. But they do this, the media is doing this to be complicit. They've been doing this to help the liberals, help the left in everything they have to do. And one of the big things, and that we're very, very tired of, that has been happening for the last 8 years, and a little bit before that, is fear-mongering. Everything is about fear. They did it during 9/11. They scared you about everything just to keep you in check to a point. Anthrax. How many people bought plastic bags and duct tape to seal the windows around your homes to prevent you from an anthrax or chemical attack? Let me let you in on a little something. Having been in the service, a plastic bag and duct tape is not going to help you a damn bit in your home during a gas attack. Some chemical attack, it's going right through. That's not going to help you. It might slow it down around the windows, but it's getting in. Unless you have a MOP suit, which is a military chemical suit, and a gas mask, at a decontamination station, you're in trouble. But that was a placebo to make us think we had some kind of control because of the anthrax scare. But the media perpetuates fear. That's how they thrive, and they take their marching orders from the DNC. So, what has the DNC done? They have been scaring organizations and groups in this country, creating division, and that's how they get their votes. Democrats love to use blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, women, LGBTQ, and Muslims to scare them, to get votes. They've been using them forever. And these organizations, these groups don't realize it. Now, some of them do, fortunately. I mean, let's just look at black Americans. What have the Democrats done for black Americans at all in this country? Zero. Nothing. Inner cities are still a mess. The black family is still destroyed. The black unemployment is at 25%. Black unemployment and underemployment, 25%. Black unemployment is twice what the national unemployment number is, which is 4.9% or 4.6%. I think it's 4.6. So black unemployment, not underemployment. Underemployment means you only have a part-time job. Black unemployment is like 9%. 25% underemployment. If you consider the real numbers. But the real numbers, the 4.9% unemployment, is not an accurate number. That's a fudged number. Consider this in perspective. When George W. Bush was president, at one point when the economy was doing pretty well after 9/11 and it had come back, had bounced back, we had a 4.4% unemployment rate, which was considered fully employed. Full employment. In numbers, it's considered full employment. Okay? If we're at 4.9% or 4.6% right now, that means we're only, 3 to 5 tenths away from full employment? But how can you be there if there are 95 million people not in the workforce in this country? The number is false. It doesn't add up. Jack Walsh, the CEO of I think it was General Motors or General Electric, was on the news on Cavuto recently, and he said that number we all know, and I've heard other CEOs, people in the business world and investments, they know the real number, and they say it's closer to 10%, and that's more accurate. I think it's even higher than that, but unemployment is closer to 10%. Now, if black unemployment is double what unemployment is, then black unemployment, not including underemployment, unemployment is closer to 20% of black Americans are unemployed. 20%. That's disgraceful. What have the Democrats done for black America? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All they do is they scare these. They do it for all groups. They do the same thing for Hispanics, women, all of them. They scare them. If you don't vote, and they really prey on the ones who need, they whistle for the white poor too. Believe me, they fall into the same category, but I'm looking at the minorities because the Democrats they're so in touch with minorities. Because they hate whites. Democrats hate the white people. They do. They hate whites. They think we're terrible. They think the whites are demons. I mean, they're all white themselves, but they hate whites. But they always use the minorities. They play the minority card, the race card. Discrimination all the time. So we're going to focus here on black Americans. Because yes, I know that poor whites use food stamps too. I get it. That's a standard mantra of left too. Oh, you're just focusing, not just blacks should have food stamps. I understand that. But the Democrats are the ones that appeal to what? They appeal to the races and the classes all the time and the genders. Okay? So we're going to talk about black Americans and Hispanics and more. Black Americans, they think primarily are on food stamps and welfare. And they like to prey on those people. And they give them, and I mentioned this yesterday, in yesterday's update. They give those people handouts. Okay? And they say, If the Republicans are elected, you're going to lose the freebies that we give you. This is what they do. And they scare them into getting votes. But they go further. They play the race card on them. They pander to them. What is it? Joe Biden went down and was talking to, it was in the 2012 election, and he spoke to a black organization of people, a group of black voters, potential black voters, and he said to them in a rally, referring to the Republicans and Romney, quote, "They're going to put you all back in chains." End quote. They're going to put you all back in chains. This is what they do. How can you hear that and not be insulted by that? It's like telling a group of Jewish people that they're going to put you in gas chambers. But they're doing the same thing now for Muslims. They're saying Muslims are going to be put in internment camps. That's not the case at all. Not even remotely close. But remember, who are the ones that put people in internment camps in the first place? Democrats did. Franklin Delano Roosevelt put the Japanese Americans in internment camps. He did it. Democrats did it. Now they're trying to say that Republicans are going to do it? Au contraire. I think your past scares you and you're trying to deny it. The fact of the matter is that the Democrats are the racists. The Democrats are the homophobes. How can you say that? Trust me, we're getting there. Democrats are anti-women. How can you? They had a woman. No. Trust me. They're anti-black, anti-Hispanic, anti-Muslim because they do not consider those groups equal in any way, shape, or form. They like to say that they are equal, but their actions speak louder than their words. They use Muslims and Hispanics and blacks through fear. We already discussed what they do with black Americans. Hispanic Americans, you're going to get deported. They're going to rip apart your family and turn you away. That's not the case. That's not the case. But the law is the law. We're talking about the bad people, first and foremost. The bad people need to leave. The criminals, the illegals who flee to this country and break the law, they need to leave. It doesn't matter what race you are and where you're from. They need to go. If you're a terrorist, you need to go. If you are simply an illegal, then I'm sure they're going to go through the process. You have to go through a process to become a citizen. You can no longer be illegal. And if it were me, and I'm hoping Trump does something similar to this, you give them a window of time. You have this much time to go through the process, pay the money, get on the list, go through citizenship like every other immigrant that comes here legally, apply for citizenship, and earn it. Once you become a citizen of this country, you can stay. If you do not do that by X, you must leave. Or you must leave, apply, and come back. Send a representative or something. I think it's going to be more of the do it here while you're here. But once we have you identified, we know where you are, you need to get it done or you're leaving. Which is how it should be. They try to scare Muslims the same way. Internment camps, and they're going to ban everybody. But, let me explain something to you. People say, they can't close down the borders in this country. You can't do it. It's been done. From 1924 to 1965, the borders of the United States were closed. Immigration was not allowed. They only allowed specific people that had specific traits, characteristics that they can contribute to this country. I'm not saying traits by race or gender. I'm talking about scientists, mathematicians, important people who could actually contribute to the fabric of this country to make it better, to improve what America is. And they froze immigration. Why? Because after World War I, there was a major influx of immigrants coming over to the United States. And America wanted to maintain its identity. You can let in a lot of people into your country, but they bring with them many different cultures. Well, America has its own culture. Yes, the culture is created from the cultures of others, but we do have our own identity that is associated with the United States of America. We do not believe in Sharia law. We do not believe in having multiple wives or killing gay people. That's not what we do. So, if you're going to come over here with a different culture, we don't believe in committing harikari as a rule in this country. For example, if you're going to come over here with your own culture, you have to integrate, assimilate into the American ideals. Freedom, liberty. That's what you have to do. That's why you close the borders. To bring people in here, they close those borders to keep them here in this country, and then they learned to be Americans. We need to do the same thing now. Close down the borders. Stop bringing in people who don't belong here, who are going to try to change America into what their country was. That's why they left in the first place, to come here. They don't want to change it to what they had. Our country's been great because we aren't those other countries. But the Democrats, they just want to scare the hell out of you. And they think they're going to ban everybody. So they're using the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and I include them kind of all together. I know they're different, but for sake of time. And Muslims. Those groups that they like to call the black and brown people. I find that really interesting, by the way. How come Democrats always refer to people by the color of their skin first, or their gender first, or their sexual preference first? It's never Ben Carson. It's African-American candidate Ben Carson. Well, actually, they wouldn't really refer to him that way. They call him Ben Carson because he's a Republican. But if you're Barack Obama, it's the first black president. He's referred to by his race. Everything's by race or gender. Always. Why? Because they see everything through a prism of race, gender, and sexual orientation. That is what the Democrats see. They see differences. They see groups that they can target to use to get votes. They don't see an America as a whole, which is what we see. We want an inclusive America of people who can do wonderful things to contribute to this country, to better themselves, to make America great, to make America what it has been. For a country as young as America, 240 years old, to be the leader in the free world, to be the best country and the best government that has ever existed, that millions around the world aspire to be part of. And that's why they flock here so often. That's what America is. That's what we've created, something phenomenal and magical. You don't want to change that, which is why Trump was elected. We need to get America back. They're trying to change it into something it's not supposed to be. But Democrats don't see a unified America. They see a fractured America because that's what makes them powerful. They can play on the fears of the people that are out there in this country and scare them into voting. I mean, these people who are protesting, they literally think that people are going to go after, that Trump is going to go after gay Americans, the LGBTQ XYZ organization, group, whatever it is today, whatever letters they've added now since then. It used to be LGBT, now it's LGBTQ. I have no idea. Either way, they think he's going to go after them. For what? He even said, now when's the last time you heard a Republican actually reach out to that group? In a convention speech. When's the last time you heard that? Never. Never. Why? Because Republicans, I don't know what their problem is. Republicans, they're, I think they think, well, here's the problem. Romney saying the 47% back in 2012 is how your establishment Republicans thought and think. They believe what the media tells them. They think that these other groups don't like them, so they're not going to reach out to them, which is the wrong way to be. Now, granted, a lot of these groups don't. But you know what? If you reach out to a few, keep reaching out, you'd be surprised how many might go, that guy's making some sense, or that girl's making some sense. Go talk to the NAA, as Rush calls them, the NAALCP, the Liberal National Association of Advancement of Colored liberal people. But if you reach out to them, there might be a few that go, I agree with you. Not likely that group, because it's very fractured and extremist, but you could go talk to the communities. Why are so many black Americans voted for Trump? How many gays voted for Trump? Women. CNN, I found that incredibly racist, if you want to call it that. You want to play their game and call this racist. There were black commentators on CNN, Tavis Smiley and 3 other black commentators, who were criticizing white women for not voting enough for not voting enough for Hillary Clinton, blaming white women. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if a panel of all white commentators said that they blame black Americans for the election of Barack Obama? My God, the roof would come off. Their heads would split open. They'd have a conniption fit. The thing is that they love division. Democrats love division. They break it up all the time, and they're going to keep using these organizations, use them against each other. If you talk again to enough of the groups, like Trump did, they'll come over. The establishment lost that. They bought into the BS that the media fed them, that the DNC fed the media, that these groups don't like Republicans. Well, wrong. There are people out there. If you don't treat them as a party and you treat them as a group, as Americans, then you're going to say, you know what, you're going to appeal to their actual passions. If you talk about things, family, jobs, growth, development of this country, making yourself better, doing wonderful things, achieving your goals, you're going to grab a lot of people and pull them to your side. And Trump did that. Meanwhile, Democrats are chopping it apart. They played the war on women card back in 2012 with Romney, saying that Republicans were trying to attack women. They weren't. Republicans weren't attacking women, but you know what? The liberal media, the DNC media, and the DNC all colluded to scare women. People like that Lena Dunham, that piece of garbage, or Lady Gaga, or Jennifer Lawrence. All these fools, Amy Schumer, these morons who go out there and espouse these ridiculous false allegations as if the Republicans don't respect women. We got women in power all over the place, guys. Ladies. I don't know what you're talking about. They think that Trump doesn't like women. Why? Because he's a guy. He made a comment about when he's doing some locker room talk with some boys behind the scenes. Did you ever hear a woman talk behind the scenes? Yeah, get with some women where they don't think you're listening. If you're a guy, listen to the women talk when they don't think you're listening. You'd be amazed at the stuff they talk about, how crude they can be. It's just the way it is. What Trump said is what Trump said. Doesn't mean he doesn't respect women. He's married to a woman. He's got a daughter. He's got grandchildren. He employs women. He has executive officers in his company that are women. And they're paid equally. How about that? And they're paid equally. Unlike Hillary Clinton, who pays her women in her office 77 cents to the dollar for every man. That's right. They only earn about 2/3 of what a man earns. A little more than 2/3. That's it, though. But see, that's Democrats. That's your hypocrisy. They think that they can play these groups against each other and against the Republicans and scare them into votes. My question to those groups, to the blacks, Black Americans, Latino Americans, Hispanic Americans, Muslim Americans, Asian Americans, Americans in general, all Americans, the LGBTQ, the women, you're all Americans. When are you going to wise up? When are these groups going to stop being used by Democrats for votes? When are you going to realize that they're playing on your fears? They're concocting false allegations and false situations to make you think that the Republicans are going to do horrible things to you, when all along Democrats are doing those horrible things to you. All along. Have they helped you one iota? After they get your vote, what has happened? How's black society? How's the life of the Latinos? How is it? Is it better? Do you live in nicer homes? Do you have better jobs? Do you have better employment? Well, they got gay marriage. No. That's a very small piece of the pie, and that had nothing to do with Republicans being against anything. Some of them probably were because of their Christian beliefs, and that's a religious thing. But there's another group that the Democrats crap all over. How can you be a Christian but do everything you can to impede Christianity? They despise it, yet they use the Bible. I said this before when Hillary Clinton was quoting the Bible in her concession speech. Hillary Clinton reading from Scripture, quoting Scripture, is like Adolf Hitler quoting from the Torah. It's the same thing. They do not respect religion. They do not respect differences. All they respect is Democrats, liberalism, extremism, progressivism. That's all they respect. And if you can be a vote to let them maintain power, they will use you over and over again as long as you're willing to allow yourself to be used. Think about that. Stop protesting and being jackasses. I mean, you're being paid for it anyway, and that's another way they're using young people. Paying young people money to protest. And then the young people start getting carried away because they're young and they're stupid. And there's always the few that become jackasses and do terrible things and get out of control, burn stuff, smash windows, damage businesses, spray graffiti. When you have unstable people, young, unstable people, and you pay them money to go cause problems and run rampant, young people need control. They need to be focused. They need to be disciplined. Democrats don't want that. That's what these riots are all about. Meanwhile, they take these young people and they brainwash them in schools. Again, from kindergarten, liberal schools and public schools that are run by liberals, all the way up through high school, handed off to college professors who are all liberals. You're being indoctrinated for 15 years of your life, 16 years, 12 years pre-college, 4 years in college. 16 years your children are being brainwashed by people who do not respect other races, other genders, who use people, who do not respect children, who do not respect religion, who do not respect life. This is what Democrats do. So parents need to take control of that situation and try to work with their children and teach them. But you have a lot of unstable parents out there too. But if you stop buying into the BS, the brainwashing of these Democrats, start thinking for yourself, thinking what's good for your family and good for your future, you'll realize they're not giving it to you. They haven't, and they never will. That's why Trump hit such a strong chord in this country. That's why he won such a resounding victory, and it shocked everybody. I was a wee bit surprised, but I was hopeful. Just because I bought into the BS too. And now you have a lot of people who are afraid because they're used to what the Republicans, the establishment Republicans, have done in the past. They're used to them going back on their word and catering to Democrats and saying, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, then I get elected, and now we're going to all work together now. And I'm going to listen to Democrats. I don't think Trump's going to do that. He's a different breed now. Trump's going to stand by his guns, and he's going to say, this is what I want to do, and we're doing it. I'm not going to cater to Democrats. I'm going to do what needs to be done because I was elected for a reason, which is how politicians should handle their business. No matter what side, you should. If you got elected, stand by your word. Stay true to your word, because all you're doing is hurting your electorate, hurting the voters, damaging your reputation. But this country wants Trump. And they got him. I don't care who's protesting. It's all paid for crap anyway. It's BS. Ignore it. It goes away. They're going to protest at the inauguration. It's going to happen. Prepare for that. People want to step up on you? Step up on them. We won. We have a strong, resounding voice. We have to keep pushing forward. It's like Rocky fighting Ivan Drago. Those who saw Rocky IV, Rocky hit the giant Russian who was in his way, punched him in the head, cut his eye open, and he was cut. And once he's cut, you move in for the kill. The Democrats are cut. We just got to keep hitting. Keep moving forward. Decimate them. Keep beating them back because we won. And the country wants a better future for itself. And the division that the Democrats cause and stir up and thrive on, that needs to go away because they're still using these groups to do their bidding for them. Move away from the dark side, folks. Come over here where the water is warm. We're going to do a great job, and we need everybody on our side. Democrats, you can stay over there and cry in your Cheerios and curl up in the corner. We'll bring the people over who want to think for themselves and do great things. Okay, that's the update for today. This is the New Independence Network. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back again soon.